everybody, welcome to the Comic Game Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I'm here to review episodes 1 and 2 of Star Wars, The Acolyte. Now, this show has been in the works for quite some time now. This was announced a few years ago, maybe 3 years ago, if I'm even mistaking it. Now there was a lot of buzz around it, because first of all, we heard that this show was going to take place 100 years before the Empire rose. So this is 100 years before, let's just say, Revenge of the Sith. Now, we know that in the Star Wars world, in the Star Wars history, that there was a large chunk of time the Jedi were sitting pretty. Before the Sith, started contaminating, the Senate and all that other shit, before Order 66, before all that shit, the Jedi were sitting pretty. Like, they were sitting pretty for quite some time. I'm thinking like thousands of years of the Jedi just chilling. So, this show takes place in the 100 years before. This show takes place while the Jedi was at their peak, because it's a period of time that they really haven't explored. They're exploring it now with the High Republic, that series. I haven't really read any books in that. Although, if you guys know, I'm a huge audiobook guy, and every once in a while I'll see a High Republic book kind of flash up there, and I debate buying one just to check it out. But I haven't checked out the High Republic. But the High Republic is supposed to take place like at the height of the Jedi Order. It's supposed to be at the height of the Jedi. Like, the Sith are gone. The Jedi are like more numerous. The Jedi aren't really even in the politics shit. Like, the Jedi are just traveling. Like, the Jedi were more golds and whites and shit. Like this is the Jedi at their peak, the zenith of it. Like, this is them at their top of the top. So to have a show be in the middle of that is already an interesting prospect, because it's in a time period that hasn't been explored before. So, but this show, The Acolyte, seemingly is about the re-emergence of the idea of the Sith. The vibe I'm getting, which we don't really know yet, and this is the vibe we get, is this show is going to be about the Sith becoming a thing again. Or, like, maybe not that it wasn't a thing, because, like, obviously the Rule of Two thing was going on. The idea is, like, what's the word I'm looking for? The idea of the Sith, the idea of another way to use the Force, that idea being put into the ether, because it's the same way that the same way that the Empire kind of eradicated, during the original trilogy. That you hear about the Empire. If you even watch what I'm thinking about, if you watch Mandalorian, like, the way the Empire talked about Jedi were like they didn't exist, like they were like imaginary things, and that kind of belief amongst people has to be created. It has to be manufactured. It has to be propaganda. There's a lot of things that go into shaping what people believe, and it takes years to do that. And the vibe I get here is that the Jedi did the same thing with the Sith Lords. It's like, over these hundreds of years, they kind of not rewrote history, but kind of like shifted the perspective to be like, yeah, Sith Lords don't exist. Like, everyone who has Force powers become Jedi or use it for good. Like, they've kind of like created this false narrative about the Force and about who uses it. And it seems like this show is gonna be like, no, there's still people who use it for different things, and you can't hide it. Now, like I say, haven't gotten too far into it. Only seen the first 2 episodes, so we really still won't know exactly what it's about. But I can tell you this: the show follows Jedi Master Saul and this mystery of this assassin who's going around killing other Jedi Masters. We don't know why she's killing these other Jedi Masters. At least that's the setup. And Saul has to figure out why she's killing them and stop her, and who trained her, and who's behind her training for her to be able to even use the Force, because she did get trained by Jedi. So who did she get trained by? Now, I say it follows Saul, but it follows Saul and his old Padawan Osha. Now, the story, I don't know how much I want to talk about, because there's kind of actual spoilers. Like, I don't want to spoil the show. It did just come out. First 2 episodes just came out. So I'm going to try not to get into anything too spoilery. But Saul's old Padawan, who she just decided the whole Jedi thing wasn't for her, and she just dropped out. It wasn't anything malicious. She just dropped out. Turns out she may or may not be, she is involved with the murder of these Jedi Knights, and then there's a reason why these Jedi Masters are being killed. We still don't know yet, but fuck it, I'll just spoil it. So, turns out, long time ago, when Saul found his, old Padawan Osha, her sister, her twin sister, had burned down their house and killed their family. They thought her sister to be dead. Turns out, no, her sister survived, and she has been secretly trained by what appears to be a Sith of some type. We don't know how high up on the Sith, he is. If he's just a Dark Lord, we don't know what he is. But she was trained by this guy, and she wants to go get her vengeance on these masters. Now, the mystery to it is, because at first they start to show off, and they want you to think that Osha and May are the same, but turns out they're just twin sisters. So there's all that kind of confusion. Everyone's like, Osha kills people, and Saul's like, the fuck are you talking about? Like, can't be her. She wouldn't do that. Turns out he was right. She wouldn't do that. But her sister is going around killing these masters, but we don't know what they did. Now, from what we were told in the beginning, her sister accidentally set a house on fire and killed her family. But from the way the sister is acting, clearly there's something else here. Clearly those masters did something. And at first I was like, well, maybe she just thinks they did something. But then a sequence with one master killing himself made me go, yo, what the fuck happened that was so bad that a Jedi Master committed suicide over the mere guilt of what happened? Like, it is so fascinating. That mystery is a hook right there. Because you're just like, what the fuck did they do? That mystery alone is an amazing hook. So that is great. Also, the mystery of who this who this Dark Lord is. Who the hell is this guy? Is he... I get the feeling he's going to end up being a character that we met already and is going to be a reveal. But still, it is interesting. Like, who is this guy who was training her? Who has a black lightsaber? Who has a red lightsaber? Like, who is this dude? But other than that, the show goes on with two great performances. Nobody's bad, but the actor who plays Saul and the actress who plays both May and Osha, they're really good doing the heavy lifting, which is good because they're the two main characters. Because they're the two leading characters, or three, if you technically, in the show. So that's good. That they're doing a great job. Also, the mystery, like I just said, is very fascinating. Another thing that's great is, since this is taking place in a time period that is unexplored, they're introducing a lot of new locations and a lot of new aliens. There's a lot of new aliens in this that you have not seen in Star Wars before. Introduction of aliens, different outfits. They're obviously doing a lot. But the thing they're bringing to this the most is very wushu, like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon-esque wire work. Like, because there's something that, because for a long time, whenever I'd watch a Star Wars anything, even the animated stuff, once a Jedi lost his lightsaber, like, all they are is just Force users. Like, they can't throw a punch, they can't throw a kick. All they know how to do is, use the Force. Which doesn't make any sense, because a lot of the Jedi, sure, there is the obvious Japanese, samurai-esque nature to the Jedi. But there's also, this Buddhist, Shaolin monk-esque nature to them as well, where they're warrior monks. And if you know anything about the Shaolin monks, they're not just great with weaponry, which, obviously, if you look at the history, they're great with weaponry too, but they're also great with their hands. They're great hand-to-hand combatants. And they're smooth and being more organic with it. So it makes so much sense that Jedi would be smooth, hand-to-hand combatants using the Force to enhance their movements and their fighting capabilities with their hand-to-hand combat skills. And it really nailed it on the head with the first sequence you see is the great legendary Carrie-Anne Moss being in this, aka Trinity from The Matrix, and she's in a fight sequence with wire works that's so reminiscent of The Matrix. Literally, it was just like, come on, man. You have Carrie-Anne Moss, Trinity, be in the first fucking few minutes of this show in a fight sequence with wire work. I'm like, come on, dude. That was great. I was just like, oh, come on. That's great. That's awesome. But anyway, there's two sequences like that, and both times I'm like, dude, I'm loving that they're taking it more kung fu. That aspect of how they fight is more, they're putting more thought into this. Like, yeah, a Jedi would be able to fight using hand-to-hand combat skills with the Force. Granted, this is a different time period as well, and they can easily just say, which they kind of said that a little bit if you remember the prequels, that, oh, well, Jedi just got a little soft in the bellies and they just, you know, started. Because hell, I remember, what was it? They were starting to not train Jedi on how to fight other people with lightsabers by the time Phantom Menace came around. So, you know, it's very easy for them to say, like, oh, back in the day, man, Jedi were a little bit more badass, man. They were a lot more hand-to-hand combatants. Like, I like this. I like the idea that 100 years ago, before the original trilogy and all that other bullshit, before the prequel trilogy and everything else, like, Jedi used to be even more badass hand combatants, because they weren't just swordsmen. They were actual like hand-to-hand combatants too. I love that idea. So, love the fight sequences. I love the wire work. It's a very cool thing they're bringing to Star Wars. It's already different. So having it be a mystery, also having it be bringing in a new creatures, and also bringing in a new way of doing Star Wars fight sequences. The show is already off to a really good start. I don't know if it's like hot in Andor or like the first season of The Mandalorian or anything like that, but it's a good start. I give this show an 8 out of 10. I give episode 1 and 2 an 8 out of 10. If you guys enjoyed the Conquer Movie Show, please remember to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next one. Goodbye.